Hey friends, what's up? Phillip here with Points of Phillip, and I'm actually here to ask kind of a weird question. Is American Express your friend? Before we get into that, I want to ask you guys to like and subscribe. Doing that helps me and YouTube know that what I'm doing is helpful for people like you, and well, that also helps more people to watch this content, which I would appreciate. If you would like to join this channel as well, I have a range of membership tiers. The base model gets you access to all of our members-only videos. The mid-range tier gets you early access to all of my videos. And then the higher tier gets you special access to things like personalized advice and things like that. Now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get into whether or not American Express is our friend. So first of all, the first question is, am I crazy for asking this? And well, yeah, kind of. American Express is a bank. It can't be your friend because it's a multinational corporation and also, a payment network, and it's not capable of being your friend because it's all of those reasons, right? They make financial decisions based on what's best for them and what the computer algorithm says is best for them. With that said, though, YouTubers and other influencers often feel the need to remind people all the time that American Express is not their friend. So why is that? So I want to get into my experience and kind of why that line might be a little blurred. So American Express is a different issuer than most. That relies mostly on their unique business structure. It also relies on the fact that their cards are largely charge cards in addition to some of their credit cards that they have as well. This can change how you relate to a banking company kind of in the first place in a very interesting and compelling way. For a little more context in this difference, I need to go back to, my past life. I grew up in a single-parent household, and what's worse, one that wasn't very financially literate or stable. I was homeless for a decent period of time in high school, and, things weren't easy growing up. Now, when I first started on my financial journey, I pretty much started with Capital One because, they were the ones sending me mailers. I first started my experience with Capital One. I took those mail-in offers, and, I made mistakes with my credit cards, and you can see that video about all my mistakes there. And, here's the thing. They still stayed with me through most of my accounts, and they were my first taste of credit cards, and they're still one of the lowest credit limits that I have with any banks. And, they actually got a lot of money and interest in my first years. Now, on to the next issuer. Next up is Chase. After I fixed a lot of my financial mistakes, I ended up getting approved for the Prime Visa card. And this allowed me to spend reliably on a card that had decent earnings and, decent benefits as well. I started getting more breathing room because I had the highest limit of my life until that point, and that ended up being a $24,000 credit limit. This allowed me to put most of my expenses in a cycle of spend that didn't rely on my pay structure. So I could think annually or monthly instead of weekly for the first real time. In fact, having this card allowed me to say, okay, will I save money by buying an annual subscription to Prime instead of the monthly one? And the answer was yes. This changes in something in how your finances look. You don't get the smaller package of toilet paper because it's cheaper in the short term. You get the larger one because it's 48 cents less per roll, and you have the headroom in order to be able to afford it and actually save that money over time, as long as you pay your statement balance in full and on time. Now, let's get to Amex. American Express is my first experience with a charge card, and that's the American Express Gold Card. I was terrified at first, thinking I was going to ruin my life with it, and it's possible that I could have. But it changed my relationship with cards in general in a very fundamental way. I knew and began to more reliably pay off my balance in full every month, which meant not only was I allowing myself to save money by spending in bulk on things I probably would have used anyway, but I was also being more strategic as well. And I was also doing that without having to pay any interest on a rolling basis. So this was huge to me. So this is the first time, because it was a charge card, that I was able to, by the time I paid off my statement balance by the due date, I still owed money on the card, and I was reporting that balance to my credit card issuers. But here's the thing, that the fact that it's a charge card means that it wasn't really hurting my credit score in any meaningful way. So before I get to there, though, I want to talk about Chase's high credit line. So this helped me change my spending habits for the better, but Amex taught me the true value of credit cards and also made my life more stress-free. I didn't have that limit that I needed to worry about. So allowing my wife and I to put all of our spend on a single card didn't trash my credit score each month because my utilization was poor. This really was kind of a big deal to me. Additionally, Amex offers started subsidizing our vacation to an insane degree. I got $300 off our Waldorf Astoria stay last year in Orlando, $150 off a rental car in Atlanta, $200 off a hotel stay in Atlanta, and then $350 off our Virgin fees for our first premium economy bonus point redemption. These are real world money that I would have been spending anyway and was prepared to, but I didn't have to because I had a business relationship with American Express. So between the charge card thing, between the American Express offers thing, well, there's something magical going on here about the fact that, well, it feels like American Express just gets me as a consumer. These cards not only allowed me to preserve my credit through managing my utilization, but it also helped me to manage my spending by encouraging me to, well, make sure that I paid my full statement balance in full and on time by the due date because, well, I didn't turn on my pay over time feature. So I was able to, first of all, learn how to manage my credit card balances, manage my credit on an interesting rolling basis so I didn't have to manage my utilization, but I was also able to save a lot of money on travel. Now, those offers, they feel targeted, and that's because they are. These higher subs are incredible. 60,000 points for getting my gold card was, well, the lowest available offer, but it still was life-changing for my travel experiences with my wife. Honestly, for being able to, for your first international trip, also be your first business class flight while having a normal everyday job is kind of insane. So, the benefits that we get, the credits that we get on the American Express Gold Card as well help feel like you're part of some special club just by having the card. And that doesn't even have to do with any of the fact of, well, having a gold medal card flashing around kind of feels good too. And I know people like to downplay that, but it is a very real reason to have the card. Now, it's not the reason, and that's an important note, but it's kind of nice, right? So here's the thing. I had the chance to do things, see things, experience things in a way that I wouldn't have had a chance to without my business relationship with American Express. Now, it's important to note that if I was dealing with Chase or Citi or even Capital One, I would have those points and I would have interesting offers. They wouldn't have nearly been as good though, and the access to having some of these transfer partners, say with Cathay Pacific or with Delta, would be much more limited. And so having American Express, being in the American Express ecosystem, having access to Resi experiences, I didn't even get into the Resi Global Dining Access Program. So the Global Dining Access Program has allowed me to eat in places that I wouldn't have thought possible. I went to Louisville with a friend of mine recently, and we booked nearly all of our restaurant experiences through Resi. And well, we experienced a lot of interesting neighborhood, locally owned restaurants that I wouldn't have known about or even thought about if it weren't for my relationship with American Express. So yeah, American Express is a bank. They're not capable of being your friend, but it is a bank that can change your life and your financial life in a very positive way if you use those tools correctly. And that change can feel more abrupt and more significant when you use American Express. So, well, while I understand American Express is a bank and they're not your friend because, well, they're working in their best interest, they have allowed me to live life more deliberately and save more money in an interesting way than, well, any other card issuer that I've dealt with so far. And well, that's kind of the reason why I wanted to make this video. Let me know in the comment section below, because I'm sure you guys have a perspective on whether or not American Express is your friend, or maybe Chase is your friend instead. Or maybe nobody's your friend, and let's take what we can from the banks. Anyway, regardless of your position, thanks so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And well, I can't wait to see you guys again. Until next time.